this and into all this, you know. And I said it was so neat for them to hear this stuff. And of course, they've forgotten a lot of it in the meantime, but the kids would be all in through here and one day, I'll never forget, remember that guy that lit up the cigarette, I thought? And it was marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
My kids took me off in the corner. What are you doing letting them do that? And I, what? What? Who's doing what?
You know, I never knew what marijuana was hardly. The first time I ever smelled marijuana was in Spain. We was over there and we was in a bar, and I kept smelling this. That smelled like a damn old wet croaker sack or an old wet dog. You know, it's what it smelled like. What in the hell is that? Of course, in those bars, they got them old blue crabs and stuff.
Right.
And they'd be eating them blue crabs and Spaniards would and throwing them down the holes on the floor. And you know, it didn't smell too good in there in the first place, you know. And most of the stuff that you had, the beer, wasn't cold. It was room temperature. The wine, they had it in coolers, like, you know, they'd have it someplace back in coolers. The wine's about all you drink that was cold, you know. And that stuff, smell that stuff, and I said, what in the hell is that? This old boy was with it. Man, that's marijuana. I said, what the hell is that? You know, I never have smoked any of it, and I don't know what it would do. But if I ever did right now, I'd probably shoot myself for not trying it earlier. You know, because I tried everything else. You know.
Yeah, it's, I haven't. I'll make a confession. Back then, you know, I had one growing their side of the house so high that it blew over one time just for a novelty.
Yeah.
Oh, that's marijuana, you know, and nobody said anything about it.
Yeah.
We was going to smoke some of it one day, and we had this whole gas oven out there back in the little shed back in the house, and picked some of it and put it in there, and then we got drinking, we got drunk, and the marijuana burned up in the oven. So we never did, that was not it, and then the tree, I got rid of the tree, so. But yeah, but you know, we never had this problem back in there, way back then. Too busy trying to, and when you drank and the cops told you to get off the streets,
Yeah.
off the streets. Imagine, Tom, you was telling me that time down there at that bar right across from old Booker's gas station there, was a bar there.
Yeah, there's a bar there. Well, it was a bar. It was a grocery store and a bar-like deal, you know. And it had gas there too, you know. You know. Then it burnt down. And well, I'll tell you what, AP run it for a long time, and then AP put in on the corner there. He had a lumber company there too. Did you know that right there in town?
I think Arthur mentioned it one time.
He did. It was a damn good sized lumber company too. It run almost a block. And but that was right across from Booker's. And I was thinking about I had, when I was in high school, I bought an old 48 Mercury, one of the club coupes. You had all that chrome on, boy, that thing was pretty. And the shocks was about gone on it. And I was getting ready to put some shocks on it, and the seat keeps sliding, you know, when you're driving, shout down there, it's sliding. So I had it loose. Well, an old man come down there, and he drove his car down there. Well, I had forgot I took the seats, took the bolts out of the seats, you know, and was getting ready. When he come up there and said, I want you to service this car. I'll take your car home. And he said, I'll take your car home. And he said, you drive mine home when you come down and see me. What time you getting off? I said, 6 o'clock. Darn it. So I didn't think nothing about them damn seats. I had that bolts loose. Well, he got out there and went across the road. Cars coming, so he got it there. He showered down, that seat rolled over backwards. There was an old stench in there where the canopy was on there, where the gas pumps was. It was still standing. And he run around that damn thing about 3 times, and probably 2 or 3 more times back before he was satisfied. Oh, like, he couldn't get nothing. Boy, what in the whole world? He finally coasted back across the street and stopped. He said, what in the world? He said, I can't drive that thing. He said, I just have to bring my car back later for I ain't driving that there.
Now, he said, "Oh man, again, this is Mr. Rutledge."
It was my stepdad.
That was his stepdad.
Yeah.
Because his dad died when David was 5 months old. He had spinal meningitis. He was a fisherman, and wasn't he coming around?
Yeah, he was over at Miami when he come down with it.
And
But-
so,
But I never will forget that old man before he was hard about that day. He tried to kill me. But I can imagine about what that was, no, I worked there at Booker's. I was night manager for, well, even when I was in high school, playing ball and stuff. I come in there, as soon as football practice was over, I was there at that station till it closed up. That's where I saw gas at 15 cents a gallon, right there, 15 cents a gallon.
well, actually, we could have walked home. They just lived right there across from Gulfview.
Yeah, right in there where they lived. But he was at Sawmill leaving. But they was going somewhere in his car once for something. I don't know what they was, but he told me to service it. I didn't have no more trouble about him borrowing my car. That was the end of that stuff.
Tried to drive it from the back seat up.
Yeah, it flipped over right, just turned over back, and I could see his feet, was like that time to see his hand. Going for the steering wheel.
And
But,
his family, Mr. Rutledge's family, was from Buckingham.
yeah.
And they had cattle and orange groves,
Yeah.
wasn't it? And H.D. Rutledge up there was a big builder. He was his brother. And who were the other Rutledge boys?
Well, one of them took care of Grove there in Alden, that little place out there, Alden, down in Fort Myers. That gets this side of Alden.
Yeah, I remember
You
all.
remember the old road, Alden Road that went in there? Used to, the only damn way you get to Alden was you come around through Buckingham, went
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
My great uncle run that old bridge there, Alga, that old drawbridge.
Yeah,
I used to go down there and visit him, and he'd let me ride the turn
yeah.
when they was pushing in the rain.
Yeah.
All kind of great.
I come up there one time and they had, at that same bridge you talking about there, and, that old man there fishing, he must have had 5 or 6 damn sticks, they looked like they was that long, you know, caught them out there by that bridge,
Yeah,
around the pylons and stuff, you know.
yeah, that was wild country back in there, back in, even in the early 50s, it was still, territorial. I always call it territorial, because if you crossed over like in North Fort Myers, if you went this side the river over there, using the Whiteheads country or the,
Yeah,
they didn't like you over there.
Yeah.
Then you stayed but back over here on this
Yeah.
side. And then if you went down south a little bit, you run into that group from McGregor Boulevard. So we had our own place out there in East Fort Myers, and the old skating rink was up there, old Underwood skating rink.
Gosh, yes. I had forgotten
People
about
come up there
that.
right around.
Come out in the
around
park
there,
and you watch the
Yeah.
skating.
Because
Yeah.
eventually everybody's gonna go see where everybody was,
yeah, yeah.
like y'all did here, you probably
Yeah.
made peer rounds a couple of times just to see who
Yeah.
was there. Yeah.
That's when drive-ins were popular, when you go to the snack drive-in, which was across from the police department in Fort Myers. And, the Rose Garden, Thad Wilson's.
Dad will,
Skylark over at North Fort Myers.
Yeah.
You didn't want to go to Skylark.
they was a bunch of blacks over there.
There were a bunch of rednecks.
See, we lived down from the friendly place in Fort Myers.
Yeah, oh,
God,
Skylark was the only place I ever saw a condom machine in the women's bathroom.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, back in those days?
And I didn't even know
Wow.
what it was, that's how bright I was.
I mean, you didn't even talk about that in
Oh,
those
heaven-
days.
Heavens no.
No, and somebody had to hold a gun on you to even use the bathroom. It was so nasty.
yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
you-
that's like when he and I got married and I came over here. When he got out of the service, that was what we did in the evenings. We'd have dinner, we'd ride. We'd
Yeah.
ride from one end of Naples to, which was back then was that way and that way.
Well, they really wasn't nothing in Naples Park then. You know, they had them old shell roads down there, about all they had. They didn't have nothing, there was no houses up there.
Then we'd say, you wanna go drive to Maine?
Yeah, sure. And now see, in Lauderdale we did it. on Saturday night with double dog dare, and we'd go down through the doors and watch. Wow. We saw things that we never saw, and you know.
Like that one guy worked up there in that tile there for Tompkins, and I was working Tompkins tile. Alfred Churchway. He didn't want to work on no Fridays or no Saturdays. And Tommy asked me one time, he said, "Church, why in the world don't you want to work on Saturdays or Sunday?" He said, or Friday or Saturday. He said, "Mr. Tommy, let me tell you this. If you was a nigger for just one Friday and one Saturday, you wouldn't dare to run the white lady." So he said, "I don't know what the hell they do, but I do like it."
They lived life till
Yeah.
its fullest of it.
Yeah.
And we used to go over there to the colored ball games they had
Yeah.
over at Dunbar.
They used to have some, remember they had a bunch of brothers that played over at Carter's, remember them?
Yeah.
And they were damn good, they had about 3 or 4 of them.
They had a good band. They had a real good
I
band.
loved to watch them in the band.
Yeah.
They were fantastic.
Dunbar, man, they used to, everybody that had a parade or something, they always asked for Dunbar, didn't they?
Yep.
Always asked.
And they used to bring out the rear in the Edison Pageant parade, because everybody would wait till Dunbar played.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they
And
would
then
make,
a bunch of people from somewhere else came down, so but that's discrimination. No, it makes everybody wait till the end of the parade.
That's right, that's right.
but they were the forerunners of what the bands are doing now, this get down
Sure.
boogie. And
That's right,
all
that's right.
people used to say, "Oh my God, that's so gross what they're doing out there," but they were just,
They were having fun.
that's what
And
it
they
is.
really enjoyed
They did.
themselves, and you enjoyed watching
You did.
because they were having such a good
That
time.
was a
Well,
good
you know,
drawing.
Dunbar got our old uniforms, and they were green, ours were green and white, and they dyed orange. So their colors were orange green.
When you go out there sometimes on Friday night or Saturday, whenever they played, there'd be more white folks over there in the stand.
Well, yeah,
than
that's
there were
right,
blacks.
that's right.
And I could
Sure
hear
did.
them, the stadium, the Dunbar Stadium from where I live, and which was off Michigan Avenue by the cemetery.
Yeah.
And you could hear them when it scores, nothing to nothing in favor of nobody.
Well, see, we can hear the band practicing over at Naples House sometime. when we go.
They was playing West Palm up there one night, West Palm Beach, and they beat West Palm 36 to nothing. To come to halftime too. The other said, let's see, said Fort Myers, 36, West Palm, not many. That's the way they-
Yeah, when we lived in Fort Myers, we lived on Henderson, when we got married. In Michigan was like here, and then the old cemetery was across, you know, the Fort Myers
Yeah,
Cemetery was
yeah,
over there with a big banyan tree. And then the Black Cemetery is in front of us.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
where Carl
actually-
Strickland's supposed to be buried over there.
Actually,
Yeah.
it was down the
Well,
street.
down the street a little way. But the railroad track was, that was the borderline
It was
for
on the other side of the railroad
Yeah.
track.
And, but I didn't know it, lived there all them years, and then I come down here and I find out that old man Watson's buried over there, right across the street. Frank Tippins,
Yeah.
who was my uncle, you know,
Yeah,
Uncle Frank
yeah.
was the sheriff. And, we just go.
Well, he was married to one of the Weeks girls, he was married to one, Andrew Weeks' daughter.
His name was Carrie, wasn't it, or something? Or-
Her mother's name was Carrie, but she was married, that was Andrew's daughter, Bill Tippins. You remember Bill Tippins used to own the Dodge Nash place down here, and then the Dodge and Nash and all that place.
Hmm.
Then he went to North Carolina, Murphy, and had a shop set up. He died here about 3 or 4 years ago. And he's the one that was he was a marshal too. He was up, I believe it was in Kentucky somewhere. He was up there one time, and they sent him in there to this place to some stills, you know.
Yeah.
And he started down this little boy sitting on the porch, and he said, "Where's your daddy at?" He said, "Your daddy and uncle." He said, "Back down in here." He said, "Down this trail here." He said, "Well, you want to come show me where they're at back here?" I said, "I might get lost." He said, "Mister, if you go back there, you ain't coming back." You know, but they was built on moonshine. Frank Tippins, that's the first time I've heard of him in a long time. But he was married to, I believe,
Frank or Bill? It was Bill.
Frank Tippins was his dad, Bill Tippins.
His son.
She run off, with somebody, that's what I understood, in fact.
Yeah.
She run off with somebody, Uncle Leonard and them they didn't have much to do with her. After that, there was Julie, and what was the other one's name? Julie, I think, was Ralph Bostic's mother.
Yeah.
Was Ralph
I
Bostic's
worked with Julia.
and she owned the Rainbow, that Rainbow restaurant used to be there. But what was that other girl's name? Julie? Damn, I can't think. But see, they were way older than us, than me.
Okay, well, maybe Jamie Bostic would know. Maybe
Because
she-
there's only 2 girls in that family.
Yeah.
There's just 2 girls, the rest of them was boys. Elmer and Norman's dad. And the one they call Boo Weeks. Wilbur Weeks. He died back 50, I think the last year of school I was there, 54, 55. I went to his funeral up Fort Myers. The old Engelhart funeral home over there on, I forget what is that, Michigan?
No, it's on
McGregor.
Yeah.
McGregor, it was in, that's
That's
McGregor.
yeah, that's what
Go
they
down
did.
toward the lake.
About much more on my camp folks. And then they moved to Anderson Funeral Home out on, Palm Beach Boulevard.
Well, the only two that were there were Harvey and Engelhart.
Yeah, Harvey, yeah, Engelhart.
And Engelhart was there, and McGregor, Cleveland, McGregor was there.
Right. Yeah, well, we live there at Buckingham, like I say, live right out there, where, right next to where you go into the gate.
Yeah,
Did you ever drag race out there?
No, they started that after, I was in service when they started that out there. And then I went out there to a couple of them, watched a couple of them, you know. Old B. Salas, he used to go up there and run, Skip Oger and all them go up there.
she did too.
They-
Leadfoot.
I just had a 56 Pontiac that like to go 120.
They run.
Yeah, David had tried that over there on the trail when we'd be coming back and forth to Logdale. Remember that? What was there, a song? And it was talking
I have.
about, now I'm going so many miles an hour, and David had,
Well, they had.
show me how
I
fast
had,
his
you
car
remember
would
the
go.
57 Chevrolets come out, they was fast, you know. Well, I didn't buy one of them, I bought a 58 with that big engine, had the big valve covers on it, you know. Then I took it to Babbitt's little Chevrolet and had an Isky roller packet cam put in it, and I boosted it 90 horsepower. Now that thing was, I come back to Key West before I done this, so, and I come back to Key West one night, and I come out of Homestead, I gassed up Homestead at about 10 o'clock, come out 27, Chrome Avenue to 41, made that loop. Well, there's always a trooper that was in there. And I come out there and I was running pretty good. I was running about 80 down 27. I got out 41, made a square turn to come to Naples. And I got out there on the road and the car kept coming up. Damn. Kept pushing it. I looked down there. Ended up spinning way back in the end. It was going to have one of them come across like that. Thing kept coming. I said, oh, hell, he's got him a blue called short hell. I said, well, if I could make it to the monument up there, get across that line, if they lock me up, they'll have to take me to Evergreen. So they'll call you county. Got out there, just past that, where that monument was, this car, I sort of slacked up a little bit, he come around there, and it was a Pontiac, Bonneville Pontiac. So I went right back to Key West, that thing put in there, they wasn't nothing on that road that touched that thing. Nothing, it would run. But the runnest thing I ever had was that I had a GTO with a tri-power. And then I had a Charger, RT Charger, bronze and white. And I used to park it down there at the station. Now that thing would run so hard, Chester, till it would blow the windshield wipers off of it. And 22 gallons of gas from here to Fort Lauderdale.
we had a 66 Dodge Charger when we came down here. When the old school back, well, that was the first year it came out.
Yeah.
The only other person that had a Charger like that was old High End Road down there, but DeVore.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've seen tail lights back there. Headlights.
Well, my
I
daddy
don't
had
know it,
one,
man.
so-
But that had that big old long solid,
My daddy
Hill out on the back of it,
and Uncle
everybody.
did
Yeah.
the stock
but they
girls.
wouldn't bother.
And,
What's
you know,
wrong
they
with it?
always,
You know, is it that
they were
318?
good
Yeah,
drivers.
yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was a good car.
Yeah.
I drove a little, like,
I tell you what, that 318 Dodge was the best engine that was ever put
before I
in.
left over
That's what we
Coast out
had
on
now.
the road, you
Well,
know,
we had that fire
and the
truck down
floorboard,
there, 318.
and they all
Checked
did
off
tell
none of
us
that
just
thing
to
in
pay
the
for
woods
the
there
tag,
behind
and
all
David
there
says,
for
oh,
them
no,
kids
I'm
that set the
not
fire
gonna
every
take
year. You
that
remember how
road.
them school kids, just before school
You
got
know,
out,
that's just an old piece of
hollering on
junk.
that thing there till it gets so hot, till it would just stop.
Yeah,
We'd run them. I'd sit there waiting for a few minutes,
and
and wait for a few minutes and try to get water on, take the cooler we had on there, jug, 5-gallon thing, try to put it on
It
there,
was a lot of fun.
throw it on there,
I
you know.
carry a hammer. and
5-day cooler, and I crank that song up, come right on out
River
of
in
the bed.
Michigan
And
Avenue.
never, you check
And a
that,
lot of
oil
times
was
it just
never
fell
down
out,
in it.
so I get out,
That
be
to me,
on
that's the
battery
best
cable.
damn engine
yeah,
they ever
I
did.
love that,
Well, good
one of
engine.
the computer
Well,
jokes,
when
you
that,
must
when
be a
them boys on
redneck.
Facebook,
Uh-huh.
fence setting the
That's-
woods on fire.
Here we are, that's what mother always gives
Said set
David,
the woods
that
on
Jeff
fire,
Fox
that
or
was never-
Gallagher,
Yeah,
you know.
some part of
And
some
I
little,
said, the funny part about it is, it's talking about us.
They go out there and smoke
Yeah,
Yeah.
across the
Yeah.
school,
uh,
and,
My
he was bragging about it. I said,
son-in-law,
what do you do it for? He said, call it cool.
Yeah.
he was from Texas, he had a brisket, he wanted
but,
David.
but I tell you, I don't know, it's,
And the
by these
brisket
old
came
people like
off,
that,
they
and
were
they say,
catering the
Chester,
party
they'll
that
talk
day.
about these old people like this here,
And the brisket
why they
was
did
gonna
what
come
they
off
did,
after
you
we
know,
were
it's like I
gone,
told
'cause it
Rod
take
Black,
a long
hey,
time to
he-
tend to run.
he
And,
actually just killed a bike right there,
told
Peter.
he says there's some tough
Yeah.
out there, you know.
He come up, he would come up there, and a bunch of people from, there's a bunch of people from the,
Eric
hotel.
said, well,
women would come down and go
yeah,
swimming.
he says, I used to.
His coconut boat
trash can. David says,
over around
"Oh,
Dayton,
no,
would
he
come
says,
in.
He's got some trash can for it."
Down there
And he said.
in the patch, board the patch,
Well, no,
tied up
there's
the
some
board
right
the
here, he
patch.
says,
And they would come all the way down the beach
trash
there
can, about
and
12
go and
feet
swimming right
full
from
of
the window.
flies out.
And somebody told Granddaddy that he was
He
swimming
says, I
deep.
have heard read that thing before.
Well, Uncle Bill worked
Trash
there,
can away from the door to keep the
Uncle
flies.
Bill worked there
Yeah,
all.
you do.
And, once somebody come up there in an old truck, and he told him, he said, Uncle Bill said, go tell Tommy that bike back down there swimming at the beach. But Granddaddy Tommy told him, he said, don't come back down here no more, down here while you swim down there if you want to swim. You got plenty of room. Got from here to that, down there to the Gordon's Pass. Well, when he come back up there, well, when Granddaddy come up there, somebody told him, he come up there, I told him, he come up there and started down with it, they come out of the water,
First
started
they
running.
had rambles,
And,
dashes.
Bill Weeks was talking about it, he's the one that was in radio, well, that's the wrong thing to do, said, up Tom would run like a deer. Said he run down there and till your gun belt on, and run along the edge of the beach here, and he said there's a piece of tube sticks that splintered off, and said it's about 4 foot long. He run by and grabbed that
I
piece
tell you
of tube
what, I
stick
still
and
like.
stayed.
I
Made
still
about
like.
2 hours, 2 back there, and that would come out his
You
sleeve.
can't feel it with a
When he come back up there, well, Bill had an old car.
Yes, it's nice.
Remember how they had the old spare tires up there right beside the driver, you know, sit in there?
A lot of fun.
Well, but anyway, he said, can I use that big stand figure over and back? So I don't want to put it in my car, mess and hang blood all over it. But I'll clean it up and get it in. So he took on and took him across from the bay dock, right straight across. Years ago, there used to be a cabbage tree there and a mound, big old mound. And I asked store, Gavin and Ben's dad, I said, Uncle George, what's that mound doing over there? He said, son, that's where your granddad buried that nigger killed out there. I said, he said, yeah, he took him over and buried him right there. That's dug up all that Swide Mountain up there, he dug right down there, he buried him, you know. And that one tree was, that cabbage tree was there, and he took him into that cabbage tree.
And
Of course, when they built the Blue Harbor over there, it
like their
got rid of some of that.
He didn't intend to kill him, he just threw that thing at him and
Yeah,
stuck in him like
Stuck
a,
in, went right through the
like a snake.
It went through the back of the neck, he said it come out his throat.
Say, okay. This was our experience with skating.
They said, I can just remember years ago when I was just, about 6, 8.
Oh, Eric?
Eric, this Chester King, he's a retired police officer, his wife Marta. He,
We would go up to see it and light a fire and put the tent out there for the kids where it would get dark and we put the kids in the tent. We wouldn't get eaten up by the sewage, you know, get all the clams and oysters we needed and stuff. One night, David and them turned the turtle up there. And we came up on the rise and the game wardens were up there. And Don Bennett's talking to him, asking about what time it was and all, you know, being all this Mr. Cool guy. And David said,
I don't know how
we've got to get out of here. We've got to get out of here. And David had flipped
I
the
flipped
turtle
him
off.
off, but
And so
there wasn't no trail from where he'd drawn up where he was.
It was just where he was going back, you
Where
know.
he's going back.
And
That's
here they
a
had
shame.
all that, there was what, about 5 or 6 cars, and their headlights were
Shining
shining.
right on it.
Shining,
But it was
and,
just that slope where, you know, the bank was the only thing to save you, because they'd have
and so as soon as they saw it, and David and them, and Don realized what had happened, we went all through what's now Pelican Bay, all through those woods. We turned off the headlights on the Jeep and we're just going through there. And we got away from them, but Lord have mercy.
Me and old George Smith got old man by head.
You talking about George W. Smith?
The one that, Smith that, he was a block layer and all that, George Smith.
I worked for him too.
Yeah.
Him and Bob.
Okay.
Bob
Uh-huh.
Old George, me and old George was down there one time. It was at Vanderbilt. And here he come. He had no 57 Chevrolet. Had to cut down, Ben did. And we made that turn, Chester. Right after you come back from the beach here, there's a big bay head in there. We made that turn, there's a road, went through there and went around the old lake that they had dug to fill that road in.
Yeah.
And right around on one side of that top of that patch, it was a stump that damn big around. You had to know where it was. We come around there and just missed that thing, old George did. And then his model A. Right down here come old Pete, give it here that little Chevrolet that wide it. Pretty soon we go, wham! Oh, the cussing went off. We just kept right on kicking.
Now see, George and Carol just lived a couple of streets over.
They lived right over on the corner.
And when Weldon died, and before they had,
Deidre.
no, they had, isn't Deidre the oldest?
No, Weldon was the older. Weldon, Deidre, and then the other one, the younger one. Yeah, that's the way it was. Or she might have been just a baby or something with Weldon. But I don't know, I don't think she was even born.
Well, he was only 3 when he died.
Or 3 or 4, I don't know. I mean, he had him a hat. He'd get mad at George, he'd tell George he was leaving home. He'd have him a bag here, he'd
Yeah,
go
he
around
was a
and around
little
the block.
runaway. He was always.
Oh, he'd run around the block, George tell him to cross the street, go tear his butt up. He wouldn't cross the street, he couldn't go nowhere, get around the circle. But
You never got her.
No, he didn't. And Darren paid the price for it too, because he never was able to completely love Darren as much as
he never did, he never spent no time there. He never took Darren hunting, he never done nothing. You know, he just, that was it. You know, old George told me one time, he said, I went in the woods, me and him went in the woods, just talking about it, he cried like a baby. He said, you know, I dove, and I couldn't. I said, hey, you know, You can't, you gotta understand, George, it don't take them little fellas, it don't take but just a split second, that's it. They're gone, you know.
Well, and I have pictures of all of us with our kids were little, going fishing out, and, you know, it wasn't like